All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 12 of the Psychedelic Light Show Review. I'm your host, Steve Pavlovsky. I'm here with my co-host, Chris Zamardich. And Chris, what do you got for us? It's been a while since we gotten together.
Absolutely. I'm going to take you right to a slideshow right now. Okay, here we go. And share. And then let's get the laser point. Okay, so can you see those Grateful Dead slides there?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, so I got a little story about this here. I had just finished the Greg Allman tour, and he had canceled for 2017. It was April 20th, which is 4/20. I went to see the Grateful Dead in Hawaii at the movie theater. And so I went in there, and previous to the show, my buddy Dave Gross pops up on the movie screen, and he's promoting what was the name of the show? The college?
Cornell 77.
Oh yeah, Cornell 77. So, and I knew Dave Gross. He worked over at Grateful Dead Records. I've known him for years. He managed Harvey Mandel, who's a Canned Heat guitar player. Anyway, so he'd always told me about this show, Cornell, that changed his life, that made him a Deadhead. And that's how he got his job with the Grateful Dead and worked in their office and stuff like that. So I'm watching this thing, and all of a sudden I see these like liquids come on the screen. I'm like, wow, man, are those my liquids? You know, because I had given liquids to Justin Kreutzmann for the Fare Thee Well, which happened like 2 years before. And then I was like, nah, I don't think that's my light show, you know. And then, of course, what happens? The credits come up, and I see Steve Pavlovsky there. Did I pronounce your last name?
Pavlovsky. Don't forget the love.
Pavlovsky. And so the next day, I called up Steve, and I said, well, you know, my partner Pete, he just got a new house, and he's retiring. And so if you ever wanted to go out and do liquids, you know, like at a big tour or something, you know, I'd like to have you along. And he sort of, you know, so I think you kind of turned me down because you had a really good job in New York City. But
yeah, we talked about it. I remember that call, though. Yeah.
And so subsequently, we did a Rolling Stone article with Josh, the three of us.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was doing this documentary, kind of a layout for documentary, and I sent you a copy of it because we were, you know, talking with each other. And then you sent me your history stuff that you've done. What's it called? A
couple of the blog I have, brief history of psychedelic light shows, right. And you know, a couple of small things here and there that I've worked on.
Right. And I had all these photos that you've seen in the shows. So on this episode 12, you know, my guest is Steve. Liquid Steve East.
Liquid Steve East. Yeah.
Okay. So
all right. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So this show, maybe talk about this real quick, and I'll tell
me. Yeah. I mean, this was so the Grateful Dead movie, you know, the 40th anniversary played on 4/20 in movie theaters all across the country. Preceding that is like a 12-minute mini doc about the Cornell 77 show that you were talking about. So that, you know, and then you can still actually see that online if you look that up. But I was hired to, you know, to fill in some liquids for that show. So I actually went to Times Square with my family and close friends, and, you know, got to watch this show. And, you know, it's pretty cool sitting in a movie theater there. And, you know, before the movie came on, they showed this. And these are actual screenshots I took with my cell phone of the show.
Of the screen in the theater.
Yeah, this is screen in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And there's
played everywhere nationwide in movie theaters,
including Hawaii,
including Hawaii. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, ready for the next slide?
Yeah. Keep going. All right. So this is the 13th Floor Elevators reunion, the 50th anniversary reunion. I think this was 2015. So I got to work on this set. This was not just me. It was a collaboration effort with myself, Bob Mustachio, Dennis Monger, and Charles Kitcart. And, you know, you can see some of our projections up top, and you can see this crazy rig that we had down below. We each had like our own little stations, you know, and we were running it through a matrix, and Dennis was mixing us on the screen. So yeah, It was the first time that band got together, and I think since like '83 or something like that, you know. And Yeah, it's pretty cool having them all
Amazing amount of
together.
gear, incredible amount of gear. I
Oh
think
yeah.
the Brotherhood of Light did in '87, did a show with them,
With
and
Rocky Erickson probably, but
uh,
yeah, the
and
13th
Blue.
floor elevators hadn't played together in a long
Okay,
time.
and Blue Cheer was on that bill. Anyway, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, keep going. All right, so this was a art installation I did called Analog Ghosts. Ran for a month in Long Island City here in New York. What it is, it's a 6 projector installation. And basically it ran a collection of slides that I inherited from Bob Lewis, who passed away. Hence the name of the show, Analog Ghosts. It was kind of like a communication between the living and the dead. This person's not around, they can't use this artwork, but I'm using it now, and it's sort of bridging that gap, still still letting his work live on. And you can see there's 6 carousel projectors, all kinds of wheels, and things going on ahead of it. And I think it was 480 slides. And this was also part of a bigger show called Space Light, hosted by the Center for Holographic Arts, who I have done a bunch of different shows and affiliations with. Pretty cool place here in New York.
So this it's a Dove unit down on the left in between the 2 projectors.
Oh yeah. There's a dissolve unit down there, and there was also another one on the bottom as well that was mixing in the middle. The middle projector had one set of hand painted slides that actually Michael Polizzi did, and they would alternate between a mirror wheel that was reflecting stuff back as well, with a bunch of broken mirrors on the wheel.
Oh, right. So
and it would kind of alternate between those back and forth. And the idea of the show was that there was no order. It was random. It was never really, everything was turned on randomly. So there was no like real runtime, or technically it never repeated for that whole time.
Cool. Okay. So let's see what you got next here.
All right. So this was a limited edition VHS I put out with Molten House Media. It was actually a VHS. We did also have a DVD that you can see on the right. One thing that was really fun about this one was that we made the cover out of a sheet of blotter art. So you can see all the perforation there, and it fit perfectly on the cover. And I think we made 25, 30 of the limited edition ones. They sold out in like 6 hours or something like that. And Molten House, I think they're going to reissue this at some point.
Wait, I have a question. This is like liquid visuals?
Yeah. So it's a combination of liquid, glitch, and video feedback visuals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I think we're going to make another one too, hopefully, as well.
Okay. And the cool thing is that you're based out of New York, so you get to do a lot of great events, and like this space that's coming up. You can maybe explain that to us. This dome.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this dome, this is actually down in Miami, and this was during Art Basel. Art Basel is like the big, the big art hoopla that happens down there every year, all the big art galleries, and everybody comes. But there is this place there called the Miami Dome. And I was brought in by VJ Cyber Pixie. She's a really cool VJ. Brought me down there with a couple other really cool artists who I met. And we projected on this dome. If you want to go to the next shots, this dome was pretty massive. It's like 80 feet wide. I think we had a total of 11 projectors that would, circumvent the, come from the perimeter, and it was all video mapped through this proprietary software.
Wow.
You can see all the different stuff, that I was doing. Like, for instance, on the right side, all that blue stuff, it's actually live video of these like jewels and things that I had under there that were on a spinning, on a rotating wheel. The thing on the top left, I think, was like a holographic holographic gift box. There was some, real liquids as well down there. The one on the bottom right, that was actually video feedback, which is really cool doing it in a huge dome like that. So this was a fun show to do.
Yeah, what I like is, and when I edited the show for you, there's variety of looks. It's just not like the same liquid blob played over and over again that you see in other shows. So yeah, really cool, man. Really cool.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, you move on to the next slide, but I wanted to touch on it. One of the things that I think, about my just career in general, on one hand, I haven't toured as much as I would like to. That's the one thing that's always kind of been like, I've definitely done, as you can see, a lot of different shows and some pretty big ones. Haven't toured as much as I would like to. But on the other hand, that has freed me up with a ton of other opportunities, and one of the things that I feel like really, grateful for in my career was that I've been able to not just do live shows, but take it in all kinds of different places. I've been in some movies, magazines, sell my own stuff, gotten all kinds of, product placements or collaborations. So that's something that I think has been, that I've tried to do is, definitely, do liquids and do projections and, and all kinds of visual music, but also see where else can I take it? Where else can I branch out to with this? So that's something I've tried to do. I guess we should talk about these photos here. So these are kind of the one on the top left. Yeah, that's the time that Kurt Cobain sat in one of my shows. I think it was like 1991. And I just wanted to include this because this gets.
Well, he's a big psychedelic fan. We know that.
So. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, this is, people get so irate every time I post this. It's obviously a joke. It's obviously bad Photoshop. The amount of comments that I get, man, that's fake. What are you doing? Who do you think you are trying to fool us? And I'm like, dude, how old do you think I am? I would have been like, I would have been like 12 years old in this picture if it was like, do you know how old Kurt Cobain was when he died? Like, so it's just funny. I wanted to include that because it actually was one of my top posts on Instagram for a while, just for comments.
I'm gonna add to that because, and we all talked about this in the show before. The band that he was taught by is the Melvins, right?
Yeah.
He would sit in and watch them rehearse up in Aberdeen, Washington, this like logging town. And I did light shows with liquids with them. I mean, it's not that far, man. I mean, it's like his favorite guys, the guy who played drums, I did light shows with. So it's not, I mean, your age is different, but they were not, the grunge scene liked psychedelic stuff and trippy shit. They didn't necessarily want a bunch of fucking Parcan rigs with, giant, Michael Jackson lighting. They wanted just weird grungy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
So just a couple of the other shots, the one on the top right. So that's a Brooklyn Bowl. You can see the relics thing on the side. This was actually a Phil Les show. Phil came.
Right.
Yeah, Phil came to Brooklyn Bowl, and that's just a side screen. If you've ever been to Brooklyn Bowl, they have tons of video screens, and you can send your video feed to all of them. So there's this one like big screen on the side. It's also a bowling alley, so all the bowling lanes have video on top of them. The bar has video outside, in the, another bar has video. So I was able to send this video feed to like 20 different, screens throughout the venue, which is really cool. There on the bottom left is our friend Josh White, and what he's holding there is pretty awesome. It's a VHS of Max Headroom episode. Josh actually directed. There were several different iterations of Max Headroom, but he directed the first Max Headroom Cinemax series. So there we are holding a tape, and I actually also had a tape that he lent me of, if you know Max Headroom, all those lines that move behind, the guy's head, if you know that like iconic design of that line pattern. Yeah, I was able to get just an isolated copy of just that stuff, which I actually digitized and have in my private collection. It's kind of like a holy grail of VHS in many ways to have the, this was like something that the show actually used for production. And then just there on the bottom right, I thought it was a cool shot. This was a 4th of July. My friend TJ's uncle has this highly illegal fireworks thing every year, which it's been going on for years, and they set off so many fireworks. It's crazy, but it's so nice. The family comes together, and then I got the American flag there with a little bit of video feedback going on it, and a kid just playing in front of the projector beam, having fun.
Great shot. Okay, let's move to this next one.
Yeah, so this was an art contest I won. This is for Save Art Space. They take unused advertising space, and then they give it to artists. So this ran in West Hollywood, I think like 2-3 years ago, and it ran for the whole summer. So I was able to get my stuff up on a billboard there in Los Angeles.
Really awesome. Okay,
yeah, it was cool.
Here's your New York.
Oh yeah. So this one, it's kind, kind of a crappy shot, but if you look at the very bottom of it, I did with some friends one of these boat cruises. So we brought a boat out, into the harbor of New York City, and not a great shot, but you can see my rig down there with the Statue of Liberty through that little window there. I wanted to just kind of include this because, like, how often are you going to see a
Right
light
there.
show rig with, the Statue of Liberty there? You know what I mean? We were like literally right next to it. And I will say, for anybody who ever thinks about doing this, you cannot do liquids on a moving boat.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I
really.
mean, I was like literally like holding the plates. Like I wasn't even doing, I spent more time trying to stop my stuff from sliding off. You know what I mean? I mean, the boat was wobbling. And so it was a hard show to do, but it was fun anyway, and we got, we got to spend a beautiful night out in the water in New York City doing this.
There's the three bridges on the right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah,
The
it's
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn, Manhattan, and then behind that's going to be the Williamsburg.
Williamsburg. I walked across those, all three of them in one time. Okay, let's get to this next one. There
Yeah.
we go.
All right. This was the 747 at Burning Man. I think this was the last Burning Man right before, quarantine. And so, they brought a big 747 there. I didn't actually do this, but my good friend, John Bonk, who's a really awesome VJ and, been a friend of mine for a long time, threw some of my stuff up on a 747.
Oh,
At
that's
Burning
your
Man.
stuff. I see. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my artwork. Yeah. Yeah. And he
Those
was
are
like,
what, 20K projector or something?
I forget what he used, but yeah, I mean, it's massive. It's a full on, 747. There's actually a lot of controversy because this thing was so big, they had to leave the 747 there, and you're not supposed to leave anything at Burning Man. It's, in and clean everything out.
Oh, is it still there?
I don't know what they did with it, but I'm not sure. But there was definitely some controversy about this piece, but
Wow.
yeah, but it was supposed. I had some friends who went to this, and they were like, "It was friggin' awesome hanging out."
People
there.
out on the wings and then on
Oh
top.
yeah, yeah. You can
top
go in. You can go
lounge.
inside. Yeah, the top lounge and everything. Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Okay, here we go.
All right, cool. So this is also Brooklyn Bowl, and this was a private party I got hired for by a guy, Cliff, that you hooked me up with. It was his like 65th birthday, and he rented out all of Brooklyn Bowl. He hired Oteil Burtridge to be the play that night. The guy's a huge Allman Brothers fan, and I'm sure you know him. And part of it as well, because it was his party, they decked out the whole Brooklyn Bowl with like all this different artwork. So you can see all these posters, you can see the stuff on the stairs, the tabletops. A graphic design company incorporated my artwork along with all this Cliff and Friends stuff, to deck the place out and everything. And it was like everywhere. There were banners everywhere, and using my artwork as a background. And you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but in the bottom there, that's my rig. They gave me my own little sign. And you can see on the top right there, I got like a 12K projector on that truss. On top of that plate, and then yep, and then my rig is down there at the bottom. And I was also kind of part of because it was like a loose thing. Oteil was playing, but he has family there and everything, and part of it was kind of people are very interested in the liquid light show as he was, so I left a plate open for friends and family to come over and actually jam along, and
cool.
and get up on the screen for the show.
Yeah, Cliff, what he would do is he'd buy like 250 tickets to Beacon on like a Wednesday night or something. And then he would sell it to all his like stockbroker friends or whatever, guys from Wall Street. And then they would have a party at a couple restaurants where they'd have all this catered food. They'd give you a t-shirt, and then they'd all come in and they'd have like golden circle seats. And then Cliff would hang out on stage, and that's how I got to know him. And I hooked you up with this gig because I was doing Allman Bets at that time.
Right. Yeah, so, thank you for that. That was nice, and Brooklyn Bowl is awesome, man. I've worked there a bunch of times, and their staff has just really been great over the years.
Yeah. Pete Shapiro's great.
And Pete Shapiro, Pete Shapiro. First, big band I ever did that anybody heard of was the Yonder Mountain String Band. So I hit up Pete one time. This was before he had even the Capitol Theater and everything. Brooklyn Bowl was kind of new. I hit him up like, hey, I do this, and he's like, yeah, come on down, and I did this, and yeah, that was cool. That was kind of like, I felt it was like a first big break to, play with a band that people had actually heard of, after doing bar bands and friends bands for a while. And then over the years, just kind of got to work at this venue, and I love this place.
All right, let's go to his next theater.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Pete Shapiro, yeah. Here's the Capitol Theater. This is his bigger venue, and yeah, these shots are by Scott Harris, who's a really great photographer and has got a name for himself. Takes a lot of cool shots, and check his work out. Does all kinds of a lot of fish, stuff, but also just all around the scene. And so the venue, the Capitol, has this huge video map projection system that they run content on. And I had given them a bunch of my content to throw in during shows. So I think that they still play it every once in a while. I'll watch a live stream or be at a show, and I'll see my stuff up there, because it's cool. the same people work both venues. So
I know them well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. This is like an outdoor home. This next one that you're projecting.
Oh yeah. So this was actually a small burner party I did up in the Catskills, and you can kind of see. I think it's kind of getting blocked out on the bottom left, but there's like a small regional burn. They made a sculpture, but I was projecting onto this house, which was like the only visible thing in this. It's up in the Catskills, very dark.
Well, the deal is, this picture right here is one picture.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay,
there's the burn, and there's the house.
Right. There's a house in the background. Yeah.
I put these two variety shots in, so you get a liquid and then a more raised.
Right. So I was projecting onto this house, and and doing everything. Doing liquids, doing video feedback. I had my 8-bit there. I had a Commodore 64. I was even running. I had an analog video synthesizer from LZX. One thing that I got to say was really awesome about this is because it was so dark. If you would like shut the lights off, or you'll kill the projector, it would just make the house look like it disappeared. And so I was able to do these magic tricks. And I remember a couple of times where I would get a dot on the screen. So basically you have this big house, suddenly moving into a small dot, it would visually look as if the house shrunk into a dot, because it was so dark, and then boom, it expands back again. So that was really fun playing, with that, and the different tricks that your eyes play on you in that type of darkness.
Right. Yeah. You could do like a special effect where you zoom everything down.
Yeah.
That would work too. But then you lose the light on the thing, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. That's a cool one. All right. So now we got this product you pumped out their ad. Here.
So here I worked with Dunlop, Jim Dunlop, who makes effects pedals. They put out an official line of Jimi Hendrix guitar pedals, and I worked on the advertising campaign with them. So they did a whole bunch of videos that they put on social media, at trade shows, on YouTube. And so go ahead, check it out, and Jim Dunlop, and nice. Yeah. So I was able to make the videos with them and work with them on this.
Kind of classic Fillmore's liquid light look.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to your next big corporate event here.
Oh yeah, right. So this is a big deal, big Hollywood launch for the show Euphoria, which is part of HBO. You can see the real classy establishment. My friend John Bonk, actually, who I mentioned before, works at this venue and helped get the projections up for this as well. You can see it's a classy thing, white tablecloths and all that. And I think in the next shot, we'll see some celebrities.
Yeah, this is pre-show, and this is the event.
Right. So this is the event. Yeah, you can see how it's all fancy and, big Hollywood, big shots and everything. But in the top left corner, the guy saying "Yo, sick visuals," that's Drake. That's the superstar rapper Drake. He's one of the producers of Euphoria, and he was there. So I kind of had some fun with that, and put the bubbles. He was kind of looking in the direction of the visuals, and I'm like, oh snap, Drake's looking at my stuff, and he's cool. Probably thinking how awesome it is.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like
this was a fun show. Yeah,
big projector and everything.
Yeah. John did a great job teching this. Yeah.
Here's another celebrity shot here.
Yeah, so this is another HBO thing. This is the show High Maintenance. If you ever seen it, it's about a guy who drives around a city delivering weed on a bike, and every episode is about the people that he meets. That's him over there on the left. That's the dude. Next to it, that's his wife, who's also the director. This is just a production shot, but in the bottom, that shot is actually from the episode itself. And the episode
Oh,
was about this guy who, he's this like avant-garde theremin player, and he
oh,
goes to
I
do all
see.
these shows. Yeah, so he's up there doing one of his
Oh, I see the
performances.
theremin. Yeah, that's okay. That's this thing right here. Jimmy
Yeah,
plays one of these.
yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
makes all that feedback sort of
yeah. And so it's a
super.
really, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, totally,
yeah. His
yes,
hand right there, it'll go wow, wow, wow,
yeah.
wow,
It's like,
like that.
woo.
Yeah, right. Different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so now let's get to some of the really cool things people can use and make their own light show.
Oh yeah. There you go. So this is from liquidlightshop.com. I started like in 2016 selling glass and dyes, kind of just like make a little bit of side money. It's really hard to get a good oil dye. It's really hard to find good clock faces. And over the years, I just started off, from getting it from various suppliers and all that, eventually started having it made myself. And then recently we literally just expanded the store. I used to sell just glass and dyes, squash plates and dyes. Now I've expanded to mores, petri dishes. I am also going to be starting to sell LED tracing tablets and magic camera arms, so you can
Yeah, right.
set up something for yourself that's on its way. This business, started off, it's funny. I just like didn't really think anybody would buy this stuff. I've done over 1,000 orders since 2016 to every continent except Antarctica. And over there on the left, that's that Crazy Stevie. For those in the know, that's a play on a Crazy Eddie commercial. So I don't know if if you were familiar with Crazy Eddie. It was this like nut job in the 80s who sold electronics, and Crazy Eddie, nobody beats my prices. And yet he was known for having these like completely outlandish commercials. Um,
I kind of picture the guy going, and even you can be a liquid light show artist.
Right. Well, yeah. He would. Yeah, he would. Well, all right. So no. So this is his thing. It was Crazy Eddie, where my prices are insane. So that's why I had the insane price drop.
I see.
And
I have a question about these the oil dyes. Now, these are concentrated oil dyes.
Concentrated oil dyes, and they're vegetable based. They're one of the things I figured out a way to make them vegetable based, because a lot of the other ones that you get can have some chemicals in them where they don't smell so good. For a while there, I was selling ones that were kind of they weren't really harmful, but they did have a funny smell and all that. I wanted to make something that was completely non-toxic that even kids can use.
Okay, so they go into you put them in mineral oil and it'll dye your mineral oil another color.
So you can
Correct.
drop it in. You can drop it into mineral oil, and you drop it into mineral oil, and it will, while it propagates through the mineral oil, you can get some cool effects. You can of course pre-mix them in mineral oil and put that in directly, or they float really well on top of water. So like, let's say the petri dishes, you fill that up with a dish, you drop a couple of drops of the oil dye on it, they're going to float and start creating like all these swirly patterns on top of it.
Kind of top plate stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of,
right.
You can do a blow plate with them, or just because they're so concentrated, they'll just create this layer of like swirls on top of water.
Hey Steve, why don't you give us a website address for this?
Oh yeah. So it's liquidlightshop.com. And yeah, it's up there now. We got a bunch of deals going on, and like I said, I just expanded the store, and we're gonna be expanding it a bit more.
Okay, great. All right, let's see your work on stage. Here you go.
All right, yeah. So this is these next couple of shots are with a group I play with called Liquidverse. They're here in New York. It's my friend Ricardo Romero. He's the composer, real cool dude, Juilliard trained. All the musicians that he brings on are like top notch, like real, really well-trained musicians. And one of the cool things about these shows is, if you look at the bottom right there, I get up on stage with them as a member of the band. So I'm up there on stage. I got my rig there with the cameras and all that, and and I'm running a line to a projector that's about where that camera is, and I perform with them on stage. Yeah, I think we might
Cool.
have a couple more shots. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you can see me as well on the right there. We call
There's
it
your,
we call it liquid verse. It's an equal. Ricardo does the music. It's a lot of like experimental, electronic, ambient stuff, but with also classical instruments as well. And then yeah, you can see one of my rigs there. I tend to never really do the same rig twice for a show. So for this one, I was trying out. I got like a rotating LED turntable there on the right, which I can pull off, and there's a LED tablet there that I can put uh, the plates on. I also have a MIDI control pedal there, which allows me to, while I'm doing like liquids or something that I got to use both hands for, I can basically start fading in different clips or fade in the camera, which I'm using. I can also start changing the color of it. I can add video feedback with it with my feet. So
do
it's
these wah-wah pedal things do anything? Or?
yeah, those are the expression pedals. Basically, you choose what bank you want with the the one shot pedals, and then you control the parameter with the expression pedals.
I see. And now I got one other thing here. You got a magic arm, which you said you sell right here.
Which I'm going to start selling. Yeah,
you can see them right there. And I have a couple of them. They're really great.
Oh, they're awesome. Yeah.
You put anything on and you just crank them down and they just lock in. They're really
great.
Lock
in. Yeah, and they're also good for if you want to use color wheels. They're really great for attaching a color wheel onto it. Let's say you got like an overhead projector or some kind of a weird place. Rather than bringing like a big stand or something like that, you can just grab this magic arm and you can clip it to the table, even the arm itself of the a
beam up on the ceiling and drop your camera down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here, let's get to this next shot here.
Yeah. Right. And so this is another shot of liquid verse. This venue too is pretty cool. It's National Sawdust. It brings in some pretty cool performers. This show especially was really cool. This was like a big collaboration. This wasn't just myself. I am there on stage, but we also collaborated with Bridget Smith from Joshua Light Show, Joshua's wife, and Elizabeth Candela, my fiance, and George Stadnick. And I'm doing the stuff that's, running to the screen, but what they were doing Lumia. This place has a balcony. They were doing Lumia from the balcony. So Elizabeth was on one side, Bridget was on the other, George was in the middle, and George was feeding them content. So George would pick different video clips that would run to two projectors, which they use as the light source, which they would then like almost like angels, up there in the rafters, shining the light down. And the place is beautiful. It has white walls. So we were able to cover up all the, not just have the screen, but have all this, the light show going all over the whole room, which I really like doing. I like breaking out of the screen if I can and making it more immersive.
It's not your typical proscenium stage. It has a whole.
Oh, it's a weird stage.
Yeah, it looks
like a spaceship, but it's cool.
Right.
Good staff.
Let's go to the next one. This is cool.
Yep, this is one from the show as well. Yep, or one of the several shows we've done there.
Really see your rig in there. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so next you're going to go to this one.
Yeah, so this is cool, man. This was Austin Psych Fest. I believe this was like 2014 or something like that. This is probably up until this point was like the biggest. This was like the first time I did a show of this size. I had done like some other shows with like maybe like I don't know, 1,000 person capacity, 1,500 capacity. This I believe had like, I think the field itself had like 7,000. The whole capacity of the whole festival was like 15,000-20,000. It was really cool. Bob Mustachio does visuals for the Black Angels, brought me in for it, and it was like a little light show convention because he brought in all these other artists from all around the country. People who do different styles, not just liquids. Glitch people, video synthesizer people. My friend Nick Gianti, Brown Shoes Only, was there. Drew from BPMC was there. All these great artists. So it was like not only just doing these cool bands. But it was also just like a convention of meeting these people for the first time and kind of like, and it really changed my game. Like after I met all these people and my eyes were opened to, suddenly seeing all these other people were serious about it. I was like, oh wow, I didn't know you can do that. And this show was cool too. I did the Zombies. Who else did I do? Bunch of different bands. I mean, the Zombies was the standout one for me. Time of the season and
all
those classic songs.
Rod Argent on keyboards.
Yeah.
I think one of the guys passed away recently, but yeah, they're classics still around.
I forget who else I did, but yeah, but there was a bunch of pretty cool bands. Sat in with the Black Angels for this one as well. It was cool.
Yeah, I do a lot of these type outdoor venue things. I hate them.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, well, I mean, you're up against the elements. It could rain. It's always
the elements can
it's always sketchy, but I pull them off. Whatever. It's all good.
Yep.
It works out. It works out usually. Okay, let's move on to this. This is a friend of ours that we both talked to.
Bottom. So
Heavy Light, right?
Yeah, Heavy Light. Bottom left is not part of this, but the other ones, and I'm actually wearing their shirt right. This is Graham Walford's light show. Heavy Light. It's got a big heavy light on the back. And then we did a collaboration together. He lives in Vermont and went up to Jay Peak, Vermont. The band here is Pink Talking Fish. They do Pink Floyd, Fish, and Talking Head songs, and they're actually really good, and they're getting more and more popular. And this was our rig. He brought his stuff, and I brought my stuff. Graham was like all analog, no digital. I was like, all right, fair enough. So I brought a let's say we go to like the top right photo. That's actually a one of those my overhead there is one of those 575 watt actually no, I'm the left table, so in the middle there.
This is you?
No, one more over. Left, to your left.
Oh, this guy. Oh, that's
yeah. So that's one of those big ass Duquesne Quantums, which are
what's this little clock thing on there? Is it?
So that's actually the speed control. In front of this, actually, I had mounted a color, a color wheel. There's actually a warp wheel. It's hard to see.
No, I see it over here. There it is.
Yeah. Right. And actually, Graham was joking around. He's like, I said nothing digital, and of course I had a digital meter on it, but everything here was all analog. I had that wheel in front of it. And then I also had, my slide projector as well. And I was swapping stuff out throughout the show. And then these guys, you can see how many wheels they have. I mean, they really, really got their stuff together. Graham's show is super impressive as far as like how put together and well built it is.
So tell me about the speed control on his wheels. He was telling me about that. He's got it really under control, like some special motors or something. You see those yellow wires going up there. What's the story with those?
Doug, the other guy in the show, is like a master electrician, so he set this stuff up. He would have to explain it better, but I think that they even use like wah pedals for voltage control to these things.
Oh, okay.
But he also has a dissolve unit as well, and they use some optis as well. Real quick, the rig to the left there. What's cool about this one, if you look at the bottom, the left, you see that big white board there.
Yeah.
That white board. So what I did is I had a camera facing down at it, and we did Lumia, video Lumia that we then translated and projected to the screen. So basically the big white board acted as the screen, and there were a bunch of reflective things. You can see them all on the right side there. And then you can see even the light in front of the the whiteboard, which would was our light source, and it just shined down. We tint it sometimes with gels, sometimes with just a coloring on the Resolume. And Elizabeth did these. We did a couple of shows together where she would run the Lumia and I would run liquids, and she did a really good job at it.
All right, cool. Let's move on to, here we go. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. So this is my big Allman Brothers 50 show in Madison Square Garden. This is the last show before lockdown. Literally, New York City closed like the day after. This is cool. I worked with Marco Ferrero on it. If you want to go to the next slide. It's kind of hard to see, but I think we have some better shots for a rig. But Marco asked me to help him in on this, and this was also the production company from this was John Singer and Chris Reagan, who do Dead and Company, who were hired to do this as well. So for instance, like the right side shot, you can see a guy with a hat there. That's actually Chris, and that's LD. That's all lights. Sound is in front of them, and behind them, one half of that is all Jonathan Singer's stuff. The left side there, and we're going to see more of it in some other pictures, are our rig. You can see me taking notes, going over the set list.
Right. So this is your guys. This is Singer. He's got the same mixer I got.
Yeah.
Right.
He actually had a issue. His mixer broke like a day or two before. He actually called like the head of Roland and had him ship one from like overnight, like one from Oregon or something like that.
It broke because
I don't know the details, but something happened to it, and he wasn't able to find it anywhere. It's just called Roland. He's like, look, I explained to him the situation, and they were cool and sent him one, overnighted him one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we sent video to the Video Map Mushroom, which I think we'll see some more of.
Yeah, he's using a Grand VJ there, which is the program I use.
Okay.
The two on the right, I can see that. Yep. And then he's got those little mixers, the little 1000s or something right here.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got those two as well.
If I had two of these, I wouldn't even need that mixer. I mean, I like that mixer because you can do a lot of scaling. You can scale on it.
Right.
Really good to scale on, but well, I don't know how he's doing it. He's also got stuff right here that's a card that goes into it. It has images. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this is a shot of you standing there, even though there's nothing on the screen.
But this is a selfie mid show there.
And then here you are mixing liquids, which you can see right here.
Yeah.
Up on that mushroom screen, which is
and it works together because we were given color cues. Chris gave us color cues for all the songs, so we did, rarely do I I improvise most of my shows, except this one, with the cues and everything was a lot more rehearsed and put together than most of our other shows. So we can, blend in with the lights. Although I found at times contrasting with the lights actually worked a little bit better, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Because it didn't
blend or being part of the palette, like, you're magenta, they're green,
exactly, being part of it.
Here's this next one. Now this one shows your rig, and then actually how it's being interpreted on this weird mushroom screen they designed, but you can definitely see it there. It looks cool.
And that's a mix of our stuff as well as Singer's stuff together. So Singer was blending, we were sending stuff to Singer, and then Singer was sending it to the video screen, and you can see actually we have two of those. The the VH, the VD ones or whatever, which is, I forget the name of it, at the VD HD one.
I've got one. I really like it. You said I really dig mine.
I like it. I had the two channel one, which is not, it's great if you want to set something and leave it, and it's got good scaling capabilities. It's not a good performance tool. For instance, simple things like if you want to change a parameter, you have to twist the dial like 10 times to go from 0 to 100 instead of just going from 0 to 100. And there's no way to change, you would think you could change that threshold, but you can't. So it's good to set something and leave it. Yep. And here's some more.
That one you're talking about is more for like being locked on a tripod with two cameras, and you can do a 2-camera mix.
Exactly.
By shooting. It's kind of like a one-man unit where
it's not meant for VJing or whatever.
I mean, the one over here that I use, I'll bring 3 computers and that in a suitcase with with one of these monitors, and I can run my whole show on that. Because I have a variety, and I have some mixers that go with the computers also.
And we had 2 of those because one of them is a submix of 2 cameras, so we can get some of our keying and effects, which then get piped into another one. And you can see also on the left there, I got the Resolume as well, just to kind of add some variety or backup if something happens, or I'm a big fan of redundancy in my systems. So let's say the computer goes down, I still have my cameras. If the cameras go down, I still have my computer.
Okay, let's keep rolling here because we're starting to eat up some clock.
All right, let's go. So this is some press that I've had. One was an Italian magazine called Blow Up. I got on the cover. They did a whole show about whole article, episode, not episode, issue about light shows and light show history. So it was a nice, nice use of my artwork on the cover. It's an Italian magazine. Down there is just, this is from the article that we were in. It was an article for Joshua's, 50th anniversary doing light shows, but Rolling Stone went ahead and interviewed myself and you actually as the other two people for this. And if I just want to read it, this is my quote. I think that they have grown up in a digital, this was, I guess, asking why kids or people are attracted to, the light show. I think that they have grown up in a digital world where this analog, real-time, hands-on thing is not really seen much, says Pavlovsky. So I think that gets them excited about it because, again, everything's so computerized. It's a nice antithesis to that. Also, the essence of the show itself, it's alive, it's organic, it's handmade. You don't necessarily have to know a lot of technology or programming or stuff to do it. So that was kind of my quote, and they said a couple other things about me as well.
Very cool. Josh was told his stories from obviously the 70s, 60s and 70s. Well, 70 was when they closed, but anyway, or 71. So he was there. And then I sort of was telling, my touring story with the Allman Brothers. And then you were kind of like the latest guy on the street doing light shows in New York. So we're kind of all at the top of our game type characters. All right, so let's move on to you decided to project on where in New York somewhere.
So this was actually a show that I curated. It's a monthly show called Light Year, and they project. That's the Manhattan Bridge. However, that's the Brooklyn side in Dumbo.
That's the Brooklyn side. Okay,
that's the Brooklyn side of the Manhattan Bridge, and so I curated a show. I was asked to curate it. I think I brought in maybe 12 different artists. The one on the left, that's actually Valeria Hayato's artwork. I brought in Sarah Zucker, who's actually becoming pretty famous in the NFT and crypto art world now. And but she's been doing, even before that, she's been successful. I got George Stadnick in on that. Kind of local people kind of wanted to do. I felt some people kind of got mad at me, I think, because I didn't choose all liquid people or like psychedelic light show people. I wanted to curate it with people who are involved in light art, but not, keep it all just psychedelic light shows. I wanted to kind of broaden it and see the different approaches. So I know a couple of people kind of got mad at it and include them. But I just wanted a variety of people, you know what I mean? So, and then and then down there on the right, a little squished, but that's me standing in front of the projection. And I think it was like 80 feet wide. And the tech on this is Farkas Falup, who's a local guy here, good guy, and part of the projection and VJ community.
All right, here we go. We're going to go to
so it's kind of hard to see, but this was a show with Max Creek. This is also another collaboration effort. This is again with Marco Ferrero, who's there on the right. Also Graham Walford came in. This was in Hartford, Connecticut, and we had this whole theater to project onto. So we had the screen, we had the sides and everything. This image is actually composited, but up top we have a bunch of opties that you can see that we're projecting all on the sides. Marco,
those are these.
That's that stuff.
This big one in the middle is this.
Actually, the projector. Actually, see right there where your dot is. That's actually the 12K hit in the middle. Underneath my laptop is another 5K, which is hitting the proscenium where it says Palace Theater.
That's a different,
So I had kind of like loop of like these astronauts on Skylab floating through space and things like that going. Marco was there manning I think 3 different projectors, as was Graham, and I had my little hybrid digital analog station there with a camera and a turntable with reflectives or different things. Cool. Yeah.
All right, let's go. I got more of the show. So
this one turned out great. Yeah, I mean, this is like I think
this is kind of a classic Fillmore sort of look. And this is like the Grateful Dead of Northeast, right?
Yeah.
Max Creek. I mean,
Oh yeah, Max Creek was like kind of like an OG jam band. I mean, I think they've been around for 50
yeah,
years, and
they have.
they influenced Fish. They're from Vermont. That's Scott Murkowski play. That's his band. He plays in Mike Gordon of Fish. He plays in his band, plays
Wow,
guitar.
cool.
Anyway, and then I just wanted to talk real quick about what's on the screen here. This is a beautiful mix of both analog overhead projectors as well as a digital projector. You can see some of the jewels. I think I had when I showed the picture,
Yeah,
the
I see them. Yeah.
yeah. So those jewels that were at the Art Basel show are also on that turntable here, and
Okay, here I'm gonna go to the next one here. There
yeah.
is Steve,
Oh yeah,
and there you are, and that's kind
yeah.
of more of a moray you got going there. Yeah, and you've
It's
got green and
video feedback actually.
oh, okay, and then you got
Yeah.
like green and purple lights that give that mood.
Yeah, we worked
You
with
know,
a lighting designer as well.
yeah, and
Yeah,
there you
but
are.
yeah, that's actually video feedback that was generated from the Resolume. That was creating that.
Oh, very cool. And then this is a super psychedelic one, and then a
Yeah,
long
those
shot.
are two of them. Yep. The one on the left, I mean, I absolutely love that because it's got the liquids. You can see the jewels as well in there. They're actually mirrored if you look closely. So, you got the nice reflective, the
Oh,
top.
I see. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
it mirrored there. Yeah.
yeah. So you have the top lit like reflectives of these jewels. You have these beautiful analog projections coming from there. From the overheads. Bottom picture is actually what generates that is another holographic um, gift box with these little circles, but depending on how you look at them, they get bigger and smaller. And what I did is I had them going through the camera, but I actually then added a video feedback effect to that, which then generated that mandala pattern in the middle. That's not like that pattern in the middle. That's not like a transparency or a slide or anything. That's an active, um, uh, you know, pattern generated from video feedback. Just the hot parts of it, the white parts of it.
Cool.
Yeah. So that was in motion the whole time, and
All right, let's move
yeah.
on to this next thing because you loaded me up here. So
Yeah, I gave you a lot of stuff. So
I'm
this one
cranking
here,
it on.
this was a big deal. This is actually Nature. On the right side, that's Nature, which is like the most respected science journal. Turns out, and then I mean, like, yeah, it's literally like, scientists. I feel bad, scientists dream their whole lives of getting into this magazine, and here I come in with some liquids, and I'm like, yeah, I was in Nature. It's just like 100-something years old, and basically, there is a process that's within the last 10 years, scientists have discovered about cells that they behave like immiscible liquids at times. The same way oil and water don't mix, depending on certain conditions. Things in your cells will actually change a phase and suddenly morph into these other like droplets and things that are not mixing with anything else in them. And it depends on a whole bunch of things. They identified like 200 of them. So Nature, called me to use some of my artwork for this magazine. This is the feature article. The online version actually had me sharing the front cover, the front page with Stephen Hawking, who passed away that day. And what we have here on the left side, this kind of turns out that one of the principal scientists of that study, turns out Shayna Elbaum, Dr. Shayna Elbaum, turns out she works here at the Advanced Science Research Center right here in New York City. And it turns out also right next to it at CUNY, there is a planetarium. So Dr. Hedberg, who's the guy who runs this planetarium, basically she called me up. She's like, do you want to do something like some kind of like science and art, collaboration, because your stuff, can demonstrate what we do and also, gather interest in it. And likewise, I'm very interested in science as well. So I'm like, yeah, of course, let's do something. Turns out, we're looking for a venue, like literally next door to them, there's a planetarium from the City University of New York that Dr. James Hedberg has been revamping. So we did a show where we brought in not a show, we did a workshop where we brought in all these different students, artists as well as scientists, and had us all collaborate. And I brought in maybe like 12 different overhead projectors, and we hit the dome of the planetarium.
Awesome. Okay, now we're going to the Beacon Theater,
Yeah.
and there we
So
go.
this was yeah. So this was when I was asked to sit in with Nick Mason. You know, Nick Mason of Pink Floyd. He's got a band, Saucerful Secrets, where he plays only stuff pre-Dark Side, which is awesome because it's like that's like literally my favorite era of Pink Floyd is anything pre that old school garage psychedelic rock type stuff. I mean, I'm absolutely in love with it. Like when I think of the most ideal music to play, you know, to do a light show with, it's that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So they are their team is from England. So it's Jack Dickinson, who's the video guy. A lot of this stuff here is kind of his stuff. Their guy above them is Patrick Woodruff, who's like a really big lighting designer in England. He's designed the London Olympics. He's done Lady Gaga. He's done Michael Jackson's It. You know, he's lighting director for Rolling Stone, so he's got his own company, was hired, you know, and then basically got Jack and those guys to do the show. And I was asked to sit in because they had all this cool analog stuff that they were had in their material that they were projecting, but they were also doing live plates, and they were still having trouble. I sold them some plates before the tour, but they were still having some trouble getting the plates going. So they asked me to come in and, you know, would you like to, you know, help us out or talk to us? And I was like, I mean, this is like a dream come true. I mean, I grew up around Pink Floyd. My mother loves Pink Floyd. I grew up within the household. You know, like I said, it's my favorite era of psychedelic music. I was like, say no more. You know, I didn't even charge them any money. I was like, yeah, just let me do a couple of sets. Let me do a couple of songs with you guys, you know? And so it turned out we went there and we did the show. And, you know, I sat in with them. This was a 2-night stand. And you know, and I helped him out. I showed him a few pointers about how to do the liquids a bit better. And at the show, which is really, you know, really cool, probably one of the highlights of my career, Nick Mason actually in between, he does, you know, band introductions. He does band introductions, and he'll do a Syd Barrett tribute. He stops the show and he's like, and we'd also like to thank somebody. And it was like, we'd like to thank Steve Pavlovsky for helping us out with all the, you know, the stuff that you see behind us and everything. I was like, I'm like in shock. I'm like, what? I need to just say that, you know? So we don't have the video now, but if you go to my YouTube, there's video. Elizabeth was able to really quickly, you know, pull out her phone and capture. And there's a couple last 10 seconds of thank you, Steve. And I got up and took a bow and all that stuff. So that was like really, you know, having a member of Pink Floyd, you know, thank you. And, you know, and of course I met him backstage and all that. And it was also.
So isn't there some live concert footage of the show itself?
Yeah. Yeah. If you go to
not just you on stage bowing.
No. If you go to my show, yeah. If you go to these photos, unfortunately, we didn't really have the best photos of the show, but there's some really good footage of this if you go to Liquid Light Lab's YouTube of this.
Okay.
One of them, including, I don't. Do we have any more slides from this show? Or?
No, this is it. I mean, I found this one. This one's liquid.
Yeah. So the other thing that's very should be mentioned about the show is that Roger Waters made a surprise appearance at the show, or I think the second night. One of the nights, either way. So, you know, he sat in. So we also projected for him, so this is like the closest thing to a Pink Floyd reunion we've seen in years, you know, and I also saw him backstage, like kind of, you know, as I was like, you know, packing out, I saw Roger coming down the stairs. And if you want to know what Roger Waters looks like up close, he looks like, holy shit, that's fucking Roger Waters, dude.
Okay.
You know, and I was kind of like, you know, and he was, you know, doing his own thing and I was packing out, but I was like, I mean, I was straight up starstruck. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. That's what happened when I was working at a Rolling Stones concert. Keith Richards hops out of the van in front of me. I was like, oh my God.
No way.
Face to face with Keith Richards.
Yeah.
And I've never, you know, I work with so many people. I'm not really that much of a
no, I know, but somebody like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go this now. We got about 4 more slides to go, so let's rock it out here.
Yeah, so this was a little art installation I did during COVID last year. This is the Cell Theater. You know, split into 2. I did a 4 projector installation, one from the ceiling hitting the floor, one on the left side. You can see the zap, and then on the right, on the photo on the right side, we had like a big beanbag set up, and people can just come and chill out for an hour. This was, of course, during COVID. This was like around this time last year. So this is like nobody knew what to do. We were actually one of the first venues in the city to come up with the idea of doing timed entry, by appointment only. So, you had these bean bags and everything, and you can just come in. Of course, we cleaned everything. This is when everybody's, all paranoid. But this actually uses a lot of the material that I inherited from the Bob Lewis collection,
Oh, I
as
see that.
well as Mike Pelosi's, hand painted slides, which I filmed, but then composited and put them into digital projectors and had them running
Cool.
on a loop. Yeah. So
All right,
that was a really cool one.
Okay, we got 3 more to go. Here we go. This one's
Okay.
just a
All right.
product you did. I don't know what the story on this is.
Yeah. So I did a collaboration with Zipper Eyewear. Zipper, they make like some really cool designer sunglasses. They also make like ski goggles and stuff like that. So they put out a line of Liquid Light Lab designer sunglasses, in a bunch of different styles that I think they're all sold out, but you can look on their website, and they're cool. They came with all this like cool packaging. You got the microfiche, you got the box on there. The ones on the bottom left, those are actually the ones that I wear. They got all the full thing is all like wrapped in Liquid Light Lab artwork. The other ones are a bit more subtle. You don't really see it, but
I see it in the back.
Whatever they are, the part.
Right back here on the back end.
Yeah, on the back of whatever that part is, the loops that go around your ears.
Okay,
so there's
let's just move on to the next one here, because I mean, it's cool stuff. It's too bad it's sold out, but now here, New York Post.
Yeah, and New York Post. So this is also at the cell. This is the front of the cell. And this was part of a worldwide exhibition, again, put together by the Center for Holographic Arts, called Light Windows. And again, this was like the very beginning of quarantine and everything, and nobody knew what to do. Martina from Hollow Center came up with this great idea. Why don't light artists project into their windows? Since you can't go outside or anything like that, but what if we all projected from our windows and people can drive by or whatever, and do that? And so and this was actually everywhere, including a base in Antarctica, a scientific research base had a light windows installation. So I did it here at the cell. This is, I think, 13 I think it's 7 or 9 feet by maybe 13 feet high rear projection, and there's a piece that ran for about 12-minute loop. And the New York Post reported on us, and got into
really good size, man. I mean, look at it compared to the door. It
looked awesome outside. I mean, the videos, again, if you go to like you have to go to my Instagram, Liquid Light Lab's Instagram, and check it out. I reposted them recently. It looked amazing from the outside, and the video, actually, if you go to check it out, is especially weird because nobody was out. It's like quarantine. And then it was actually at this time when, for some stupid reason, the Empire State Building decided to start doing this pulsing red. You can change the colors of the Empire State Buildings, like
right.
They're doing this like pulsing red heartbeat thing. At one point, it was like a scanning like siren, like as if like it was like a siren from an ambulance, which freaked the hell out of people. Like, people are like, I mean, it's already freaky enough what was happening, you know.
Right.
And now they got this like in the middle of the city, this big like danger siren going, and they cut that off after a day. They kept the heartbeat going, which is in one of the videos, but it's. I get the sentiment, but it was like it just added to the weirdness and tension.
It didn't work at all.
No, it did not work.
I'm going to add to that. When I was a kid, I used to do light shows in my room, and I had this thin blinds. You have the curtain, you have a blind, and the blind was made out of plastic, something like a rear projection screen. And I used to project on it, and I'd be doing a liquid light show to like Quicksilver Messenger Service or something.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I hear somebody drive in on my street and honk their horn. Because I seen the light show in the window, so it's kind of the same old story, man. But it's a great way to do it. Okay, so here we go. I mean, like, that's a good way to do rear projection.
The screen is nice too. It's a special 50-50 screen.
If you have a window behind the band or opening, and you can go outside and project with the band playing, I mean, I've done stuff like that. Okay, here's our last one, and I think this is a good event. Then you can explain to the audience.
So I mean, it's a modest piece, but the setting is important. So you can see that the little pendant there, right? At the very top. yeah, the shots of it aren't the best because the lighting wasn't able to capture it. Basically, I video mapped this pendant of this art show. Now, what's significant about this was at the New York Public Library, which is this big, like monolithic, iconic building, museum type building on Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street in New York City. Have you ever seen Ghostbusters? I hope everybody's seen Ghostbusters. The first scene in Ghostbusters takes place in this building. And so the show itself was You Say You Want a Revolution. It was celebrating, like, it was like one of these anniversary things, 68 or 69. It was a 50th anniversary of the counterculture revolution. So this whole exhibit had all kinds of, all the different counterculture things that were going on at the time, everything from like the sexual revolution, to, everything, including, musicians and Woodstock, and including, different artists and thinkers and quote unquote drug luminaries. So what was really cool about this was this is also on the first floor. That pendant is actually the geographical center of this like very historic building. There's like a Gutenberg Bible literally on the other side of that. But I wanted to include it because even though it doesn't look that great, the context and the company that I was keeping, of the show was like, I'm surrounded by, like, for instance, on the left side there, that is actually Timothy Leary's notes from the first time he tried DMT. There was also right in front of that, there's another case where there's some stuff by William S. Burroughs. Right to the left of my projection is some handwritten lyrics from Bob Dylan. Victor Moscoco's in this show, our Crumb's in this show, like everybody who's anybody from, this era, of that type of thing was in this. So while my piece was like modest and a little thing, I got to share this room with like all these like crazy people. And what's also nice about it, it was the first thing that you saw when you entered the it was the first thing that you saw when you entered the exhibition. So like you can see that doorway there, that's the doorway to the exhibition. And picture's not the best, but it was like the brightest thing that you saw. And it was a circular exhibition, and then you would go around and see it. So
well, Steve, we're hitting an hour plus.
Okay.
Anyway, so unbelievable stuff.
Let's go back to the both of us.
Fantastic that you are actually, in New York, where you get to do all this cool stuff with all these different events. And, like I was in San Francisco, my first 20 years of my career, and I got to do a lot of things like the Fillmore and Avalon and stuff like that. So, it's really great, man. You've like branched out and taken light shows to a different place. And I think that's fantastic. So I think we should just sign off because we'll have a nice tight show if we do.
All right, cool. Yeah. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for, thanks for patiently listening to us talk, and, check out liquidlightlab.com. Check out liquidlightshop.com. Check out the Psychedelic Light Show Preservation Society. And if you want to get more involved with the light show community and learn about what it is that we do and the bigger thing. And thanks. And thanks everybody who's been watching the show for the past few weeks. I think we had a little bit of a break for a bit, but we got a couple of more lined up.
Right. So we're now in the 2000s, 2000 whatever, the different events you've done. So we're going to start opening up the show to like a lot of different people that are more contemporary.
Yeah.
So it's going to be some good stuff coming up. We got Derek McCabe lined up for this month, and then Tim Pace from Washington, D.C. He's the original 50-year light show guy, still doing it today. I mean, he's been doing it for 50 years straight.
And he did Rush.
Yeah, he did Rush, right? For all you
I love Rush.
All right. Anyway, let's all right. See everybody, and wonderful, and thanks a lot for tuning in to all these shows.
All right. Later. Thanks. Later.